My name is Natassia D'Souza. You got it spot. I help men and women address their emotional eating struggles, things that they have been prone to be doing for years, rewiring their habits and getting them to a point of sustainable weight loss. So that's what I've been doing. I've had a personal weight loss journey myself. And I believe I was put onto this earth to change lives, and that's exactly what I'm doing.
It's a lot of respect, because what you go through, losing even an inch, is so important. Losing even a kilogram is so important.
First thing I would say is that it's not a one-size-fits-all approach. It's very, the individual has started using food as a coping mechanism. I hate programs where they tell you, you've got to eat 100 grams of grilled chicken and broccoli. If you're ready to fail and you're going to be open to how I pick you up and teach you how to handle failure, then I can coach you.
Okay, just want to ask you something, Natassia. We choose food sometimes and we tend to overeat. Today, everyone is a Google doctor. Everyone thinks that just like Googling everything and going on it. Google has actually become a Dr. Google now. Hello everyone, welcome to a most beautiful and the most awaited episode of Beyond The Boardroom with none other than me, Chef Shivani. Guess who I have on the show today? She is a walking motivation, walking inspiration to me. Every time I see her reels, I feel that she's getting better and better with everything that she gives knowledge about. She is someone who has dedicated, consistent, and someone who's very clear with what she has actually thought to do, which is a big blast on everyone's face. Emotional eating. Oh my God. Coaching people with emotional eating. That's something which is required from 5 a.m. till midnight, because a lot of us are just living in some kind of a bubble. And here this woman comes in and pops on something and says, "Tuck. Come on, get to exercising." She is none other than the best inspiration in the whole world today and making sensation way ahead on the entire social media platforms. None other than the most gorgeous Natassia D'Souza.
Thank you.
How are you?
I am lovely. I'm lovely. Thank you so much for having me today.
I am so glad that you're here. And I think before I go on to all the questions with you, I just want to know in a few lines just about yourself, who you are.
Well, you've given me such a great introduction. I don't know if I can top that, but in just a few lines, my name is Natassia D'Souza. You got it spot on. I'm an emotional eating coach. I help men and women address their emotional eating struggles, things that they have been prone to be doing for years, rewiring their habits and getting them to a point of sustainable weight loss. So that's what I've been doing. I've had a personal weight loss journey myself. I believe I was put onto this earth to change lives, and that's exactly what I'm doing.
Wow. So you know what, since it's all about eating, and when we always sit on the table, we always look at these starters. So I think the first starter I want to ask you is, feel your emotion or don't feel them. That's your mantra. Yeah. So come on, tell me something about it.
Wow. So feel your emotions, don't feed it. It's basically telling people to stop stuffing your emotions down with food and start learning how to express yourself.
Oh.
If you're angry, express it. You have a lot of people that have misconstrued anger. They're angry, but they don't talk about it. They're not. And then you'll see it coming out in food, or it's transferred to someone else, right? Or someone who's a people pleaser, constantly saying yes to other people, but saying no to yourself. And then you'll go to food for comfort because food will say yes to you, right? So it's these little things in life, not being able to, confront maybe someone in your family. So it's really about learning how to process your emotions better, being really comfortable with expressing yourself rather than allowing food to get that dopamine hit and not addressing the root cause of the problem.
But like I said, you've had like a tremendous journey yourself. You said you've been maintaining this for 15 years, yeah? And that's I mean, my own partner tells me that it's so important to maintain, that weight, and it's so important to exercise. It's just that strength that comes in from within. It just changes your outlook. It changes everything. So you've had a journey where you said that 65 kilos. Yeah, it's just a number. Trust me. Yeah. For me, it's respect. It's a lot of respect, because what you go through, losing even an inch, is so important. Losing even a kilogram is so important.
Yeah.
But tell me something about this whole 65 kilos of journey.
Well, it was major for me. It was really big. I was at 145 kilos at my heaviest, not able to breathe, not able to walk, struggled climbing up the stairs, very lazy. I had given up on life. I had given up on dressing up, looking good. Those things never mattered to me, because I was never seen for that as a woman, right? And I remember going to the doctor's office, them telling me, your life is at risk. Your mom has blood pressure. Your dad has diabetes. You need to do something about this. And I would say that was the day I was quite frightened about everything. And so I took my doctor's plan, put it in my pocket, and started coming to it around the new year. Now, I followed his diet for 2 years. I did lose majority of the weight, and my journey didn't end there. This is when my whole discovery for emotional eating started, because when I lost all the weight, you would think now that, wow, I'm the happiest person ever. The person that was called fat all life is now thin. But then why 3 months later, I gained 15 kilos. And then 6 months later, I gained a total of 30 kilos. And I was it happened really quick. And I was so devastated, because I told myself, why would I sabotage something that I have wanted forever in my life? Why I finally got it. I finally look good. People finally appreciate me. My dad was finally proud of me. And then it made me really dig deeper. Of course, you're upset. You've gained 30 kilos back. And it made me realize that the way I looked at food, the way I used food, the way I comforted myself with food was very different from the ordinary person. It was very different even from someone like my sister. So my sister never looked at food the way I used food. I have been through a lot of traumatic experiences as a child. And over those years, food just became comfort, and I started getting attached to it and addicted to it, and I became the people pleaser. So once I started uncovering those things, once I started getting comfortable with understanding what my emotions were, so I got trained as a nutritionist, got trained in cognitive behavioral therapy to understand what its link was to a trauma, and how people can get addicted to eating disorders. In my case, it was binge eating. It made me really realize how much of a life I wasn't living. It wasn't just about being thin. It was literally about being a new person with a new mind and a new life, right? A new voice is what I had to give myself. Once I started establishing that, it changed my whole perspective. My relationship with food changed. And then I said to myself, man, if I'm struggling with this, there must be people around the world that are feeling the same. And so I opened the topic up for discussion on my social media, just to feel how are women actually feeling. And the response was outstanding. And
yeah, of course.
It was me too. I feel the exact same way. I feel like I'm stuck in this cycle. I can't give up. And you start to see trends among, men and women. And that's where my business started and picked up from, and still doing it till today.
Fabulous. So when you spoke about, talking and engaging with people so openly, you use the social media platform, which is, of course, everyone is on it.
Yeah.
People who are not on it, and you look at them and they're like, oh, you're not on Instagram. So I think it's very important to kind of be on the right social media platforms so people can really look at your hard work, to be very honest. I would rather say our business, it's your hard work which speaks. But trust me, I just want to ask you this, because how do you really work on those mindsets? Because people come up with all possible things. Are you trying to say, coach, I should not eat this, I should not eat that? Because today everyone is a Google doctor. Everyone thinks it's just Googling everything and going on it. Google has actually become a Dr. Google now. You just go on it and you just start getting 100 people's reviews and messages and replies. And you just, whatever you like and fix in your head, you just move on to that.
Yeah.
So you being a coach in this line, emotional eating comes in a lot from your mind.
Yeah.
Right? It's because you just want to, how you said in the beginning, you said anger, if somebody has an anger issue, please let it out. Somebody is maybe failing in a relationship, maybe somebody is upset about anything. And you just like go back to making yourself feel comfortable when you're eating.
Yeah.
And you just end up looking at those amazing carbohydrate based foods, especially the pizza slices. Oh, it's okay, the French fries, blah, 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 all of that. But how do you literally reframe these people's mindset?
The first thing I would say is that it's not a one size fits all approach. It's very the individual has started using food as a coping mechanism, primarily due to the fact based on their environment, based on their upbringing, based on the number of diets they've been on, right? Tell me the number of diets you've been on. I'll tell you how you gained your weight. I'll tell you how you're choosing to eat food now. And so it's very important for me, for anyone that I work with or approaches me, that I understand their history. I need to understand, did they struggle with weight as a child? Would they put on diets? Like my first diet, I was put on when I was 6 years old, right?
Wow.
And because it was such a topic of issue in my household that Natassia needs to lose weight. So, and
Since the age of 6.
Since the age of 6, exactly. Yeah, I remember my mom would always say, there would be a running joke in my family that, whenever we used to go to visit our family in India or anything, we'll take your baggage. My mom's name is Doris, but you take your daughter, implying that she's heavier than the baggage. So you can see how it was always used against me. So for me, it's very important to understand people's history, because things like this shape how you see yourself, your self-value, your self-worth, your self-image. Then if the person didn't struggle with weight, then it's about understanding how they were in university, because there's a lot of pressures that come there, right? There's alcohol, there's, going out, there's party, there's boys, there's diets, what's the next diet? So, and then it's also understanding an occupation. If someone's coming from a dancing background, is coming from a modeling background, the pressures of the work environment that they work in. Once I can understand that, then I'm able to challenge their mindset, because people pick up food rules along the way. And the food rules is what's holding you back. The minute you tell yourself you can't have carbs, right? Depending on how you were brought up, our brain, our lower brain in particular, operates like a stubborn child. You told me you can't have carbs. That's all I want right now. So it's about learning how to hold that child's hand and say, listen, we want to do this. We want the best of both worlds, and let's do this together. And it's about teaching the individual that this fight of you against you does no longer need to be a fight. It needs to be a friendship, a bridge that you need to build. And, my way of challenging people's mindsets, getting them to a point of weight loss is very different. It's very different. And I'm okay with that, because I know I can get the results, right?
There you go.
And so, yeah, that's how I work with people.
It's amazing. So I just want to ask you, today's trend, you would be knowing of since you're living in Dubai, globally, vaping has become a trend. Yeah. They say that, it's not tar. They just justify. Again, I'm saying, it's not food here, but vaping has become like the way you drink water. Sometimes I've seen people just holding the vape like this in their hand and choosing it to just not leave it, but use the other hand, which they don't use it on a daily basis, to do something like on a basic,
Yeah.
just maybe just drinking a glass of water. But that one hand, you know what I mean? It's just there. So it's such an emotional thing. And I'm seeing kids doing it nowadays. Every single person. There are vape shops around the world. And my heart aches, because I feel that I know it is bad, but I'm always around such things. So yes, you definitely take care of food habits. You definitely train people. You coach them. But what about these habits? Because this is also emotionally related.
Absolutely. I mean, it's so addictive. I went to a very professional meeting last week in this person's boardroom office, and it's like you said, he shook my hand with his vape in his left hand, and I was like, wow, that is so unprofessional. That being said, I will be very honest. Vaping is something I picked up as well about a year ago, and probably relied on it a little too much. What happened for me there, it ended up becoming a good case study. I don't do it anymore, but it became a case study for me. I could see how I was relying on it when I didn't want to deal with stress, when I didn't want to deal with a difficult emotion. I was doing exactly what I was doing when I was younger, coping my emotions with a quick vape. And now, because you don't have to step out for a cigarette, you can just do it at home. You can do it on your couch. You can do it on the toilet seat if you want to, right? Like, it's so crazy. And then what I noticed as well after was I told myself I can't do this anymore. I don't like it. And the withdrawal, how you want to lean on it. So it taught me a huge lesson that it was no different than any other coping mechanism out there. It's only going to lead people less to express their stress, less to confront what they're really feeling. It's just another form of, coping with life's stressors or anxiety. You're not getting to the root cause of the problem. And what I have noticed is that people that vape, it's downplayed because it's not a cigarette, but it's the most difficult habit to kick to the curb. It is.
It is.
I'm coming from it personally myself. I will never get back to it. Not even if it's the best flavor in the market. No, because,
I just feel that it's, again, because I've seen people, so emotionally attached to it. And I'm like, that same thing happened with me. I was shaking hands with a person and he had his vape and I'm waiting for him. And he took his other hand out and he didn't realize, because that whole vape has become such an integral part of his life.
Yeah.
He didn't realize that I'm shaking my hands with him, as a colleague, and you got to get the right hand out. And I'm like waiting. And so I'm like, okay, you need a coach.
Yeah. Yes. Exactly. You see people at the gym because of when you do an extensive workout, your heart rate starts beating up. Some people are so addicted to their vapes, they'll do a set, they'll go outside, do a vape, and they'll come back. And you can see the addiction right there. And it's, it's going to get worse before it gets any better, or even if it does get better, to be honest.
Yeah. I hope so. I'm really hoping and praying one day it should have more awareness. And I'm sure it will. I'm sure it will, definitely, because if there is awareness of so many things now, and people like you who are not just inspiring people, but you're somebody who's guiding people to lead a better life, and through your own example. You're not like reading books or going to some certified coaching programs and getting stamps from there and saying, oh, I'm certified this, I'm certified that. You are a certification university on your own, isn't it? So tell me something, because you must be dealing with so many people from different cultural backgrounds. Everybody comes with a mindset again, this is the way our regime is. We always have yogurt before our thing. We always eat carbs in early morning. Some people come with that kind of culture, values and systems. We only eat heavy food in the morning. Nights we don't, we don't eat after 6 o'clock, blah, blah, blah. How does it function? Because again, it's very... I first of all love the idea when you say emotional eating, you're a coach for emotional eating, because even our traditions, our systems are so much, heavy with flaws, that we don't realize that following a tradition and a culture, we are messing up with our own body as well. Like people who are fasting on festivals and this and that, and if you're diabetic, you have blood pressure issues and you're fasting for hours altogether. There's intermittent fasting, there's paleo diet, there's keto diet. I get lost. And then people say, in our culture, it's always good to eat this time this and this time at that. How do you deal with such people? Because you would have a broader horizon of clients with you.
Yeah, so I work with clients globally, and I get to see this on a daily basis.
Yeah.
Now, there are a lot of differences, but there are also a lot of similarities. The differences are, of course, the cultural based. Like my client in Singapore would eat very differently from my client in Houston, for example, right? Their options would be very different. Could be carb-based. Someone could say, no, I only want savory. Another person could say, only I want sweet. At the end of the day, it's about meeting each individual where they are. And that is primarily by saying, look, what is your goal? Is your goal to stop overeating? Is your goal to lose weight? Then eat. Eat it, that's fine. But in order to lose weight, it's a very simple formula. It's eat less and work out. Right? Your calorie deficit, that's it. So if you can get your calorie deficit by eating carbs for breakfast, or your mom's homemade pancakes that you've been having since you're a child, go ahead and have it, no problem. Now, if you go to have 15, now we have a problem, right? Exactly. So it's teaching individuals portion control. It's teaching individuals where in the day they're going wrong. Because what tends to happen is when people struggle with food, they're like, I am wrong. I am cancelled. I have no control around food. But that's actually not the case. It's a part of your day where you're losing control. Maybe it's in the night, maybe it's in the afternoon. So it's really providing information. It's providing them with knowledge about where is it going wrong for you, and then seeing what kind of, cultural values or foods that you can fit in. That's one of the main questions I get asked. Please don't tell me once I start with you, I'm going to have to cut food out. Actually not. I embrace it. I hate programs where they tell you, you've got to eat 100 grams of grilled chicken and broccoli every single day. But then what about after? The reason you can't maintain your weight is because you were on a diet that was not realistic to begin with, right? So encourage it. I encourage flexible dieting. I encourage those kinds of lifestyles. Now, on the other hand, there could be things that you're doing that don't serve you. So, for example, in my household, dessert was very big. Meal was one thing. And it's like, once you're done your meal, okay, get out the dessert. And it was never one dessert. It was a full table full. And so it was like, you finished your meal and now you have like another 800,000 calories just on the desserts. So I decided once I came to the other side that I think this part of my, what I was taught, it doesn't serve me. I don't have to have dessert every time after dinner. And it was a hard concept to wrap around. But now I do it so often. Like, I love dessert, don't get me wrong, but it's not part of my day-to-day regime that I need to incorporate it. So it's about, teaching people that if it doesn't serve you, you're not going to lose anything over it. Move on. But if you like it, you want to have it, like I like having, what is this called? A burji. It's like eggs. My mom used to make it. Yeah, exactly. I love it. I'll have it till this day. It makes me feel like I'm home with them.
Yeah, of course.
And I can fit it into my lifestyle. I don't need to cut it out. So it's teaching people that not all things are bad. You don't have to eat 100 grams of chicken to get to where you need to be. That's a hard concept. Because diet culture is very loud. It's very, very loud. And
Beautifully said, yeah.
Yeah, you need to really teach people that they can achieve it and show them it's possible, and then they start trusting the process.
Yeah, because, while growing up, of course, I come from a background when, of course, you post-school, you go play, and that's something which was a regime and a part. And now I barely see kids going out to play because there are classes, and then they have their iPads, and they have so many other things. I believe movement is very important. Yeah. Any kind of movement, 100%.
Yeah.
And of course, the kind of reels that you put up, everybody gets inspired that, come on, this woman is moving. Come on, get up, move, I completely believe in that. But where I get always stuck is, because when you spoke about people, these kind of various diets, they go on and then they argue. Because again, there is so much of loud information outside, which has no base, which has no practicality, because you can follow a dietitian for some time. I love the idea when you said that you have maintained your weight for 15 years.
Yeah.
That's consistency.
Yeah.
Right. But I get a little lost because when people are like, oh, you know what, I only have to have 200 grams of chicken because in that much I'll get 30 grams of protein. And I'm like, okay, but what about the others? I mean, are you going to deprive yourself? Is it a practical diet? So just want to say that, people say, oh, today is my cheat day. They say, oh, today is my, I feel I want to pamper myself, especially girls with periodical cycles. They get these hormonal chaos in their heads. I mean, I get it all the time. And whenever I'm in my cycle, to be very honest, I am only craving for a chocolate cake, and I'm like, I want to kill someone to get my chocolate cake, And I'm like, am I doing something right or wrong? I don't know. So the gynecologist will say, it's okay. You are working so hard. It's all right if you just had like a chocolate cake on your cycle day. Keep yourself happy. These are trends, which you correctly said that, post-dinner, we'll have to have sweet.
Yeah.
It's such a traditional thing.
Yeah.
Khane ke baad kuch meetha.
Yeah.
It's always like that,
Exactly.
But people are always coming back to the thing that always saying that, okay, because I'm following a regime, I'm following a diet, I'm following a diet plan, workout plan, what about my cheat day?
Yeah.
So do you have a cheat day?
See, I have this whole, I like to call it a free meal. That whole cheat concept means I'm doing something bad.
Correct.
And I say the exact same thing to my clients, right? Depending on where they are on the weight loss spectrum, I was like, if they're heavily into tracking their calories, watching their protein, all of that, then I'll tell them to enjoy a free meal. But if they're on maybe over 100 kilos, just kind of starting on their journey, for them, it's just about being accountable. It's just about eating what you want, fine, portion control, and keeping it under a number. Getting that person to eat where this person's at it's a recipe for disaster, because they'll give me a honeymoon phase, where they're really good for 2 weeks, and then I don't want the honeymoon phase. I want to see you struggle. I want to see you fail. I tell this to people before they start with me. Are you ready to fail? Because if you're going to give me perfect, I don't want that. If you're ready to fail and you're going to be open to how I pick you up and teach you how to handle failure, then I can coach you. But if you're not, then maybe I'm not the right fit for you. And once they get accustomed to that, because having a successful weight loss journey is about failure. I maintain my weight, but I've also had periods where I've gained it. But the reason I've been able to keep it off for so long is that if I catch myself 2 or 3 kilos over, I was like, I don't tell myself, oh my God, all hell has broken loose. I tell myself, all right, maybe I overdid it over Christmas. Maybe I overdid it when guests came home. How can I reel it back in so that I don't have to, worry about a 10 kilo or 15 kilo weight gain? So it's these little things, and the brain hears everything. So using words like cheat,
exactly,
it needs to fully be eliminated. I don't use it, and I completely eliminated it because it's...
And also I've seen the people that, when moment they look at cheating, moment they finish eating, they've enjoyed it, but they're enjoying it with guilt. They have this thing, oh my God, this morning I had da-da-da, I went out for brunch, blah, and my whole regime is disturbed. Now in the night, I will just have like 1 cup of soup. And I'm like, what if you need more? You're just like troubling your gut all the time. You're just troubling your mind, your emotions all the time. You're just feeding in that word, oh, I cheated.
Absolutely.
So I think when we talk about coaching here, as a career, why do you think that, I know what you're doing, but there are a lot of young, buzzing people who are moving into health coaching and holistic coaching and all of that. Do you see that now the world is prepared? I know there's a huge gray area still when it comes to packaged goods, when it comes to fresh food, all of that. But do you think now the world is ready and fully prepared, or rather that awareness has already gone in every different country, that you got to start eating mindfully, watch what you're eating? And do you think that it's reaching there, or it still requires much more standard platforms, for people to come up and talk, like you going all out about it globally and talking about it, because it's a very important and very relatable concept when you talk about emotional eating. It's not something, oh, come on, keto diet is a fad, that's everybody's running to keto. What you are doing is something which is essential. But do you think the world is prepared now to accept and understand that we all are emotionally fooling ourselves when it comes to eating?
I would say more people are ready to accept versus when I was growing up and struggling with food. More people are ready to come to terms with, I need to look at what's going on in the inside because it might not be wired right. More people are ready to come up and say, you know what, I might be addicted to food and I'm ready to talk about it. Rather than just saying, or rather than just believing what's been told to them their entire life, that you just eat more. Can you not eat less? What's wrong with you? Right? It's yes, what's wrong with me, but let me understand what's wrong with me, because it's fixable. It's about understanding that it's fixable, and you're not broken. You're not broken and you can fix it. Is it easy? No, it isn't. It's hard work, because looking at yourself from the inside is yucky. Right? A lot of stuff comes up. And why do I do this? Why do I, not tell people when I'm angry, or not tell people when they've hurt me, but I choose to sit and order 3 McDonald's because that's going to make me happier, right?
Correct.
And so when you confront people head on and say, look, you've actually got to confront the problem, because when you confront the problem, you're not going to do these things to yourselves. When you don't confront the problem, now you have the problem, and you've just created yourself a second problem by overeating. So it's a cycle that people get stuck on, but more people are more open now to saying, well, teach me, let me learn. There isn't a lack of awareness, I will say that. And people also have to be wary about who they sign up with.
Yes, very important. Very important.
Primarily because, it's as you said, there are tons of coaches out there. And when I meet medical professionals, the first thing they tell me is, I don't think you should call yourself a coach. I don't think, they're like, Natassia, the way you articulate and the way you're working with clients, you shouldn't. And I said, maybe one day I will. Maybe one day I'll change. But for now, I'll walk with my head held high because I know what I put to the table. But there are coaches out there, unfortunately, that are providing information based on something that they learned online. And
Correct.
That's,
absolutely.
That's
apps
tough.
Nowadays where you just put the name of a vegetable or something that you've eaten or you've eaten outside. So I was in a debate with someone the other day, like a debate, I said, I'm a chef, I know what goes behind in preparations, how it is kept. I'm not saying it's bad, but if you're talking about that you're going out and eating chicken and you have eaten like 3 breast pieces and you have gained some 30-40 grams of protein from it, what about the fat it has been sitting on it? Yeah, right? Yeah. There's butter, there's oil, there is marination, blah, 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 all of that. What about that?
Yeah.
Are you counting that? Because you are putting something in the app which is full of flaws. You put like how you spoke about the burji.
Yeah.
But there's so much that goes in the burji.
Yeah.
We just put like burji and it just says, okay, 3 eggs for burji. But there's spices that's gone in it, there's oil that's gone in it, there's butter that's gone in it, there's so much, Okay, just want to ask you something, Natassia. We choose food sometimes and we tend to overeat and link it with, the young generation always links it with heartbreak. So tell me, heartbreak and emotional eating versus heartbreak and healthy eating. What do you say?
Here's the thing, right? When you're going through a tough time in your life, when that includes heartbreak, you're not looking for a bowl of broccoli or 2 carrots to go down. You want to feel better. Your main goal is to feel better. Food makes us feel better. Food gives us a serotonin hit, a dopamine hit where we feel better. And for that momentary couple seconds, let's say, you forget about all your problems. You forget about the hurt that's been caused to you. And that is why people lean on to food during that period of time. It's okay to go through that, but it's not okay to stay there. So whenever I work with a client and I see that, she's going through a really tough time, I'll say, look, have a meal, have a free meal, enjoy it, and tomorrow we pick back up. Because you need to validate your emotion. You can't pretend like the heartbreak's not happening, right? Because then it's going to show up. It's going to show up 3 months later, 4 months later. You need to validate it. And if in that given moment you feel like having, a glass of wine and some dinner, go ahead and have that, right? But the next day, bring yourself back and say, I validated it, I enjoyed, and I moved on. What tends to happen to people is they linger over there for 2 days, 3 days, 1 week. Don't open the curtains. Bring me more ice cream. I can't do it. I can't face the world. How could he hurt me? The faster you can pick yourself up after something that big, the faster you'll be able to move on, and you'll be able to understand that I'm not using food, not relying on food to cope with my emotions.
Beautiful. Yeah. Come on, guys, start validating. It's very important. Yeah. And I'm sure people will face heartbreaks. But I think it's everything's so bang on what you're saying, because it just totally makes a lot of sense. Amazing. Thank you. Thank you for the guys who are losing, feeling bad, breaking their hearts. Please go on her Instagram profile and please reach out to her for sessions. Please pay for it and make sure that you look hotter just like her. Yeah. So I'm going to go on a quick rapid fire questions with you. Yeah, it's just like little funny stuff that these guys have prepared. What's your to-go healthy snack?
Ooh, rice cakes.
Ooh,
yeah.
I love rice cakes.
Yeah, me too.
And what's the first thing that you do when you start your day?
Water. I have a glass of water. I would say coffee, but I've worked very actively over the year to change that.
Wow. So important. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like the electric shock your body needs to just wake everything up. And it's tough sometimes because you can't down it. But I've been doing it for a long time right now, and it's a game changer.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And what's that one thing which is in your fridge always and what is never going to be in your fridge?
Oh, so something that's in my fridge all the time is blueberries. It's what I like to call a cheap snack, right? Because it's so low in calories, and sometimes you just want to open the fridge and you're like, I want to put something in my mouth, and you can just grab a handful and go. My partner does it as well now. And something that will never be in my fridge would be, God, would be cake. It would never be in my fridge because it wouldn't last. Not that we don't order it, No, we order it, but it's very it's a calculated order.
Oh, okay.
But it wouldn't just sit there.
Amazing. And how do you unwind yourself after meeting so many people and, doing?
That's a very good question. I think I'm still learning now on how to do that. I can get very caught up in my work and building and growing and being there for everyone. But something I do is I go for Reiki. I get massages. I do a lot of energy healing as well to decompress. And, they say you can't pour from an empty cup. So I do things that make my cup feel full, feel re-energized, and then I can go back into the world. So that's a couple of things that I do. Workout, that's something it's something that happens every day, but yeah.
So tell me, who's this one person you would want, a legend living and a legend who passed away, you would want to train and coach?
Oh, wow. One who passed away, I would say, would be Amy Winehouse. I really loved her music. I admired her a lot. There was something about her music. I'm not a big, I love playlists and music, but the way I connected to her music was very different. And when I heard that she died and how she died, now given that I'm in this space, I was like, what was she lacking in her life? What was she lacking that she had to rely on drugs so much to get her meaning to live? And I think that's someone that I would love to spend some time with, because it's talent lost. She would just open her mouth and music would just flow out. And I think if someone died, it would be her. Someone living, I would say, would be Oprah.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah. She has struggled with food for years. I've seen it. I've seen her from a child growing up. You've seen her, gain weight, lose weight. Now she's lost weight again. And that's definitely someone I would love to spend some time with and get her thoughts around why she struggles with
My
food.
dear Oprah Winfrey, please reach out. Definitely. We're going to tag her. Yeah, for sure. So tell me something. Any personal motto or a mantra that you think is always going to be with you all through your life? Like every single day you think about it.
Something that I think about every single day is what doesn't kill you make you stronger. And for me, that is something I even tell my clients, because they're like, Natassia, the urge to eat is so strong. It's not going to kill you. If you pass it, it's not going to kill you. And the moment you pass it, it just makes you stronger. And I say that to myself as well, every single moment. So, yeah, it's something I live by every single day.
Amazing. Is there anyone in the world who inspires you to be fit?
Inspires me to be fit? That's a good question. No, that's a good question.
Someone you look up to who's in the fitness space, or someone who's maybe a politician but very fit, maybe someone who's an actress but who's very fit, someone who is a writer, anyone?
I would say it not because of his body, not that I've ever looked at his body, but primarily because he talks about the mind and body connection, and he says that if I don't have my health, I can't be there for my clients, my business, so I need to be in the best shape, best version of me, so that I can give every avenue of my best. So I really look up to that philosophy and way of thinking that I need to do this for me, but I need to do it for all aspects of my life. Because if my health deteriorates, then everything else just falls like a deck of cards. And that was Stephen Bartlett. He says that a lot. And so, yeah, I would say I look up to him for that, because he makes his workout happen at 12 a.m. at night, 6 a.m. in the morning, depending on his travel schedules, which is a lot of dedication, because I don't know if I'll make it to the gym ever at 11 or 12 at night. But someday, we'll see.
This is very, very amazing to know you as a person. And before we move on to thanking you, I just want to ask you one very, very simple advice, which I would want you to give it to everyone, who is always thinking about eating at a time when they have nothing else to do. So it's a very important thing.
Yeah.
I have nothing to do. I'm just like sitting at, let me just eat something. Let me just order something,
Yeah.
What is that advice that you want to give to people?
The advice I can give to someone that is what it sounds like is boredom eating. Boredom eating is a sign of a lack of connection. And the best thing you can do there for yourself is picking up the phone and calling a friend. Grabbing someone to meet for coffee, picking up your pet and, squeezing it and just saying, you're the cutest thing ever. Getting that endorphins going in a more natural way, and realizing that your worth and value is so much more outside of food.
Wow. I think this has been honestly one of the most amazing episodes that I have done till today. I'll tell you why, because the connection is so important, and I feel that kind of a connect and that respect. I said you're a university in your own self. Trust me on it. And I can see it already, because I work with so many global brands, and I work extensively with a lot of people around the world. And whenever I meet them and talk about food and setting up someone's concept in food and my own businesses and everything, you have really changed my thought process towards eating what, these diets that people follow. And I really can't thank you enough for being here, because this has been, trust me, it's been one of the most amazing episodes I have ever done with someone who is so clear in her thought.
Thank you.
Thank you. And someone who is just standing on it, Sometimes it's like, okay, I've achieved enough clients and I'm making money and I'm here, I'm famous. But just imagine the journey you yourself have gone through. So Thank you so much once again. And I am glad that we could make this happen. And I wish you nothing but just the best around the globe. Your name should be announced and be applauded. Congratulations once again.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
you.
Much love.